Apparently, some folks out there are under the impression that I have some kind of interest in giant monster films or something. Some butt-knob even wrote me the other day saying, "Hey, Adam," which, by the way, is not the proper way to open any kind of correspondence. He said, "Why don't you do an episode about the 10 worst Godzilla movies ever?" Well, my friends, I will state now and emphatically that I refuse to do an episode of the 10 worst Godzilla movies. I mean, Toho Studios in Japan has made thousands of motion pictures over their 85-year history, so instead, I think I'll expand it to the top 10 worst giant monster films of any kind. As an added bonus, this time, I won't even attempt to speak Japanese at all, since I tend to botch it up pretty horribly anyway. Here's your damn rant show, folks. Greetings, I am E. Adam Thomas, and welcome to Film Rants, doing for motion picture review and commentary what slamming 10 fireball shots and then gorging on fudge brownies does for your college roommate's favorite bedspread. Sorry, Chris. I promise one day the smell will come out. Anyway, tonight we're going to be looking at the history of giant monster cinema output from the famed Toho Studios in Japan. I initially thought of doing the episode about all Japanese kaiju films, but thanks to the Gamera series, I probably would have run out of episode before even being able to mention a Godzilla film.
Number 10. Varan, the Unbelievable.
Despite being made 4 years after the original Godzilla from 1954, this film managed to get wrong about 90% of what Godzilla got right, including the quality of the monster suit, the wooden acting, the pacing. It's really a pretty dull film. Flatly lit, badly acted. The fact that it was made by the same 4 people who made the original Godzilla film so awesome, namely Ishiro Honda, Eiji Tsuburaya, Akira Ifukube, and Tomoyuki Tanaka, makes it all the worst. All four of them literally just phoned this one in. Apparently, the actors didn't even own phones and sent in their performances by telegraph stop. Considering what I've read about the American edit, though, I count myself very fortunate to have only ever seen the Japanese version. Apparently, the American distributor, Crown International, reshot all of the dialogue scenes with American actors, and the end result was, I think, worse than the most pathetic Ed Wood film imaginable.
Number 9. Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster.
There is no good goddamn reason to set an entire Godzilla film on an island. The acting in this film is okay, but the story about a bunch of foreign evildoers making red death juice and enslaving a whole bunch of natives is literally pointless. Look, the Godzilla suit itself is damn beat up, and they didn't even bother to patch up the damage from Monster Zero, the previous film they used it in. Mothra also looks like she was kept in a drafty storage locker in Milwaukee for 10 years next to a tub of rotting cheese. It's crap, it's cheap, and it's a waste of time.
Number 8. Godzilla vs. Biollante.
Apparently this film was supposed to be a musical sequel to Little Shop of Horrors or something. It might have been halfway interesting if the fucking giant rose plant actually sung a song or something. This one really got the Heisei era off to a really bad start, with too many overly contrived subplots and a giant rose kaiju. Seriously, it's not as blatantly laughable as some of the next few entries, but it is certainly one of the weakest films in the entire series.
Number 7. Godzilla vs. Megalon.
MST3K fans will probably remember this film well, even if they never watched any other Godzilla films. Jet Jaguar, a giant friendly robot, is the kind of thing that even Zone Fighter fans cringe at. He's basically Ultraman's dorky younger cousin. Like the kid at the family picnic who would always borrow your Game Boy, and then when you got it back, there was peanut butter in the game slot. He was a dumb fuck, is what I'm saying here, folks. And let's not forget the flying judo kick that only Shatner would envy. And since when do giant radioactive hell beasts shake hands with fucking robots? Seriously?
Number 6. Godzilla Raids again.
Rushed into production for release a mere 6 months after the original film debuted in theaters, with a truncated budget to boot, this film is a giant leap backwards for the Godzilla franchise and almost became his last film. Among the worst aspects of this film are the battle effects, which instead of speeding up the film to give a slow motion to the battle, thereby giving the monsters some gravitas, they undercranked the film, making it look more like a Keystone Cops movie from the 1920s. The film's soundtrack is also really lackluster, sounding more like a Disney nature documentary from the 40s. It's kind of lame, I gotta be honest with you, but I still watch this film from time to time.
Number 5. Dogora, the Space Monster.
It's hard to find now, but this film is also really badly paced, although some of the special effects are better than most. It's just that the idea of a giant space squid that eats diamonds is so... honestly, what the fuck? I didn't think the LSD became popular in Japan until the mid-70s. This crazy diamond of a monster movie does not shine on, let me tell you.
Number 4. The Mothra Trilogy.
I love Mothra. She's probably my second favorite kaiju, next to the Big G, but all three of these films are so cloying and cheesy, and for the most part, the monster action is wholly uninteresting. They tried to heighten the tension a little bit by bringing King Ghidorah into 2 of the films, but it really didn't help. They're so bad that the 3 of them combined don't even deserve separate entries on this list, to be honest. They're unapologetically cloying and sappy and lame. Made for kids by people who just apparently do not get kids. If ever a trio of Toho giant monster films needed Godzilla in them, it would be this.
Number 3. King Kong Escapes.
This Rankin Bass co-production is actually meant as a spin-off from the 1960s animated King Kong Saturday morning cartoon show. And although the King Kong suit in this film is not quite as goofy looking as the one in King Kong vs. Godzilla, that doesn't mean it's very good. Also, the main bad guy in this film is called Doctor Who. I think you can all guess how I feel about that bullshit.
Number 2. Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla.
This film, more than any others in the Godzilla franchise, is literally ruined by Minya. Even though he gets sparingly little screen time, this version of Baby Godzilla looks like it came out of a failed pitch meeting for one of those bad Land Before Time movies. Seriously, when did it become okay for a giant city-smashing kaiju to look like a fucking Beanie Baby?
Dishonorable mentions: Godzilla 98, Destroy All Monsters, and Son of Godzilla.
And now, in the fine tradition of clickbait sites like Watch Mojo, before we get to my number 1 pick, here's a couple of quick notes on some dishonorable mentions. Godzilla 98 by Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin did not make the list solely because the film was not made by Toho. They gave them permission to use Godzilla, though, so I had to at least mention this horrific bowel movement of a film somehow. Also, Destroy All Monsters. As a kid, I actually loved this film, but then I also loved Miracle Whip on Oreo cookies. The monster action's really good, but the script is just jaw-droppingly bad. As for Son of Godzilla, it almost made the list because, again, setting an entire Godzilla movie on a fucking island is stupid as fuck. Don't ever do it again, Toho, alright? Or I just might defect over to the Gamera camp.
Number 1. Godzilla's Revenge.
Even if I had included Emmerich and Devlin's steaming pile of radioactive iguana guano on this list, this film would still take top honors. I don't even count it as a real Godzilla film because all of the monster action takes place in the imagination of a dorky little latchkey kid, and 75% of that action is recycled footage from 3 other films that are on this list. They literally used recycled footage from other terrible Godzilla films. Who does that? If they wanted to do it, if they wanted to make an Avengers film like this, would they reuse recycled shit from the old Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk TV shows? No, they wouldn't. Because they don't have the rights. But that's beside the point. If your film series is in a slump, as Godzilla was in the late 60s, is it really a good idea to make an intentionally gigantic piece of shit out of stock footage from other gigantic pieces of shit? This movie is like a marathon of the last 3 goddamn seasons of Family Ties. This movie didn't just jump the shark for the Godzilla franchise. It roofied and grudge-fucked the shark, left a $5 bill on its dresser, and keyed its car while it was on its way to get a cab on the shark's stolen credit card. This is the New Jersey of Godzilla movies. So, did I miss one? Did I just shit all over one of your favorites? Tell me so in the comments. Find me on Facebook. Email my ass. Or just, I don't know, post an angry reply video and spam my friends with it. Either way, I haven't been hearing much from folks, so it's time for you to step up and let me know what you think. Meanwhile, throughout the summer, I'm going to be up for requests from some non-Trek or Kaiju films. Suggest some cool shit below, and I might just read your comment and review your film on the show. Konnichiwa, folks.
You said you weren't going to try to speak Japanese this time.
Watashi akamu.
Angry Men Reviews. Many fucks said, no fucks given.
A happy moment.
Check out more episodes over here, and don't forget to check out Film Rants and That Damn Rant Show on social media. Links are in the description below. That's your damn rant show, folks. This is boring. Is it over yet?